Hey guys, for today's science video, we are starting lesson 2, What do fossils tell us about ancient environments? This video, I will be going through exploration 1, clues from the past, and discussing how to answer questions 1 through 4. Keep watching. So lesson 2, the whole focus of the lesson is what do fossils tell us about ancient environments? We have a picture of a fossil here. It's a little bit dark, but we can tell just by looking at the picture that this animal or organism had a long tail, had long toes. We see a spine and what looks like a long neck. So you can make inferences when you're looking at fossils as to what those animals looked like when they were alive, and that's what scientists do, especially archaeologists, when they are discovering fossils. Fossils are the remains of ancient life that has been preserved over time. They can tell us so much about how plants and animals of the past lived and died. They can also tell us about the environments in which those plants and animals lived. Our goal by the end of this lesson, and this lesson is going to be broken up into 3 different videos, so you don't have to grasp this by the end of this video, but by the end of all 3 videos when you're completing the lesson check, you'll be able to make inferences about ancient environments and organisms from fossil evidence. Making inferences is an important skill that you learn about in language arts. It would be making an educated guess, an assumption, or a generalization based on the knowledge that you have and what you know. So our first question here is on page 483. We have this, can you explain it? And this is kind of a thinking question to just get you to start making inferences. So this image here is of the Petrified Forest National Park. It's a really dark picture, so it's very hard to see, but I'm going to just add in some other pictures of the Petrified Forest in this video so you can get more glimpses of what it looks like. So this is Petrified Forest National Park. Imagine what it feels like to walk through the area. You can almost feel the heat and dryness of the desert just by looking at the photos. Number 1, think about the type of environment this used to be. Was it like the present day environment of the Petrified Forest? What can you infer about this area millions of years ago from the presence of fossil trees? So there's fossilized trees here, but there are no trees in sight. So what might that tell you about what this land used to look like long, long ago? You should try to answer the question yourself and come up with a response, and then you can unpause the video to see what I write and the inferences that I made. So because there are fossilized trees, I can infer that this area had trees growing, and probably water too, because a lot of times if we have more plant life and greenery, then it might be an environment that receives more rain and has a little bit more wetness and moisture because of those types of plants able to grow. You don't really find many trees in the desert because there's only certain types of trees that can survive that type of dry environment with very little water. So I'm guessing that there was probably water here too if there were trees here in the past. So my response is I can infer this area had trees growing. And probably had more water too. And then we also have to say like why it's different than the present environment, because the present environment is more desert-like. It's a desert type of environment. So I'm going to put now it is a desert, so it's different than it was before. So number 2 says, in the space below, record 2 observations about the fossil. What can you infer about the fossil from your observations? So the way I'm going to structure my response is my observation, and then my inference, and then my second observation, and my inference. So my first observation was that this fossil has what looks like flippers. So my inference from that observation is that this animal probably lived in water. So I'm going to write the fossil looks like it has fins or flippers. I can infer that it lived in water. It's an aquatic fossil. My second observation was that this fossil has a very long neck. So the long neck I inferenced from the long neck that maybe it was using this long neck to reach out and grab food. That's what I'm assuming the long neck was for. So I'm going to write this fossil also has a long neck. I can infer it might have used the long neck to hunt food. And that's something that we started talking about in lesson 5 of science, which is animals, looking at the structure and the function. So the structure would be the long neck, and I'm inferring that its function would be for the animal to search for food. Number 3 says, circle all the statements about the fossil that are true. Go back and observe the fossil again if you cannot recall what you saw. So the image of that fossil I have right here next to me, so I can refer back to it. So we're going to circle what's true. A, this is the fossil of an animal. Well, they did tell us that in the text, that this is definitely the fossil of an animal. B, this organism had a long neck. That was one of my observations when I was looking at the fossil. It did have a long neck. C, this organism had a large round head. I didn't pay too much attention to its head, so I'm going to go back and look at it. And the word round sticks out to me. When I look at this, I'm like, that is not a round head. That would be more oblong, like maybe an oval. It looks like it's pointed in the front, kind of like a beak. So I'm going to say no, that's not true. It didn't have a large round head. Its head actually looks a little bit small too in comparison to its body. D, the fossil bones show legs that look like flippers. Yes, that was one of my other observations. E, this creature had no tail. It does have a tail, so that is false. Number 4, you get to be an artist and draw something. So we're going to think about the body shapes of the plesiosaur. That's what this creature is. And at the end of the video, I will put some pictures of what scientists guess that it looked like. It's actually pretty interesting to see like what it might have looked like if it had, like skin or whatever else we can imagine some of these creatures having. I would say probably not fur since it's an aquatic animal. Think about the body shape of the plesiosaur. Compare it to something else that looks similar. It could be a vehicle or an object, or it could be a living thing. In the box below, draw the object you are comparing to the fossil. Circle similar structures in your drawing and the fossil on the previous page. Explain your comparison in the table that follows. So I'll show you how I set this up here. First, I chose something to compare it to, and I chose a dolphin because I thought maybe a dolphin might be something easy for me to draw, and it does have flippers. So don't make fun of my dolphin. It's probably not going to be the cutest dolphin in the world. If I had a picture of a dolphin in front of me, it might be easier. But I don't, so please don't make fun of my dolphin. going to kind of draw like another flipper in the back. Give it a little eyeball. All right, that's not too bad. It could be better. Do dolphins have blowholes? I'll put that right here. Maybe some water coming out. So I'm going to label this dolphin for people who have no idea what it is because it's not the best. So now let's go back to what we have to accomplish down here. Circle similar structures in your drawing and the fossil on the previous page. Explain your comparison in the table that follows. So what I'm going to write are some features of the fossil and some features of the dolphin. I'm not going to circle anything on this page. I'm just going to circle what is similar looking here. And let me get like a different colored marker. So the first thing I'm going to circle that's similar is the flippers. And that might be like the only thing that's similar. I would say that their faces aren't similar because this one has a long neck. Dolphins don't really have a distinct neck. I would say maybe the head. The head I'm going to say is a little bit similar because they both have a long front of their face. The back flipper of the dolphin is definitely different because this guy kind of has legs and this guy has a tail, and this would probably be considered the dolphin's tail. So some features of the fossil, I'm going to say the fossil has a long neck, flippers, a tail, I'm going to say long face, and that's probably it. It's a little box, so we don't have to say too much. I'm going to label this dolphin. So I'm going to say the dolphin also has flippers and a long face. It does not have a tail or long neck. And that is the last question that we have to complete. So I'm really interested to see if you drew something different and what you drew. So send me pictures on Dojo of what you drew because I'm interested to see if you picked something that was more similar to this fossil than a dolphin, because for me, I chose dolphin at first, and on second thought, I'm like, they're not really that similar, but they do both have flippers. So that is it for today. Keep watching the video because I'll put some pictures of what the plesiosaur looked like from what scientists can probably assume. All right, and have an awesome day. Thanks for watching.